I was actually thanked by the nurse who said she had never seen a delivery quite like mine. Hi everybody, and welcome back to another video with me. As you can see by the title and thumbnail, I have given birth to my second child, my daughter, nearly 3 weeks ago now, I think, maybe a little bit more. And I am eager to share her story with you all. If you're new here, then welcome, and hi. I'm Katie, a registered holistic nutritionist and the founder of Live It Well Nutrition Incorporated. I do a mixture of nutrition videos, natural living videos, recipes, and of course, videos all about the life of being a mom. So there's a lot of holistic parenting on this channel as well. It's a pretty fun channel, so please stick around and subscribe if you want to join in with us continuously. I would personally love to see you back for more. Okay. So let's just dive right in. If you already watched my first son Diego's birth story, I'll link it in the description below for you, then you'll know I had a precipitate or rapid birth. As my midwives and I suspected, this was an even faster birth with my daughter Hailey. Everything started happening on September 8th, the day she was born. But keep in mind that September 7th is my husband's and my anniversary. You can watch our Q&A if you want. I'll also link it in the description below for you, and you can kind of like see us together on camera. We basically had a very romantic date though, at a beautiful restaurant on the waterfront. He gave me flowers, we got all dressed up, and when my pregnant feet couldn't walk home in the heels I had chosen for that night, he gave me his shoes and walked back to the car in bare feet in rainy Vancouver. Let's just say the love hormone oxytocin was channeling through my cells, which could have definitely played a role in Hailey coming 8 days early. So anyway, the next day at I think about 12:30, I was putting my son Diego down for a nap. We were all three in the bed and I was nursing Diego to sleep. That's when I felt the unmistakable contractions. They weren't very painful though, but they were just like menstrual cramps, like classic symptom, coming in and out of my pelvic area in gentle waves and exactly 5 minutes apart. Being my second, I knew to call the midwife right away because we suspected another short labor. I started packing my hospital bag because I didn't already. But I had set things aside for it. So I started to pack that, and soon my contractions were as close as 2.5 minutes apart, but they were still not painful. I was so confused. Why wasn't it painful? My husband and the woman who's living with us said, go, 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 go to the hospital. You need to get to the hospital. And I was like, oh, I don't want to tie up a midwife who's on call because once she gets to the hospital, she can't just leave me there. So she'll be waiting around with us if we go too early. No, we were going. We were going to the hospital. I joked and waved to my neighbor as we left the driveway and drove to BC Women's Hospital here in Vancouver. We arrived and went through the questions that they ask when you're gonna go check into the hospital, like the curtain area, triage or something. And by now I was pacing through the contractions, like once I was in that room. But I was seriously still okay, and the midwife had confirmed that I was 5 centimeters dilated at that point. I confirmed with a text I had sent my mom, and this was at 2:25 p.m. Spoiler alert, Hailey was born exactly 1 hour later. So seeing as I was 6 centimeters dilated with my son the time before when we got to the hospital, she made sure I was put in the birthing room right away. With my son, I couldn't speak through the pain, but this time I was holding Diego, playing with him with the big birthing ball, joking with the nurse because there's always a nurse to assist your midwife. And I would just stop for the contractions. By 3 p.m. though, it was like a rapid shift. Suddenly, I was in a lot of pain, just breathing through it. I was still standing and walking around though. Ian had said at one point, I'm going to quickly go to the washroom. And I just looked at him and I said, run. Diego had been carried outside with Lupe at this point, and when Ian returned, I had felt that pressure near the tailbone, almost exactly like if you're gonna go poop, but in an explosive kind of way. Ian helped me onto the bed, and because things were happening so rapidly, my midwife suggested that I lay on my side to birth instead of my back, and this was that I had a lesser chance of tearing. So I did, of course. I turned to my side and I didn't tear at all. I also attribute my skin's elasticity to my free stretch mark prevention nutritional guide, which again, I'll link below for you. It's all about the foods and the oils to use and everything holistic to prevent stretch marks. So that's for you in the description. The body is pretty amazing though, because I didn't push at all. Although if anyone were to be looking at me, it would look like my body is pushing, like I'm doing a crunchie or something. But all I was doing was breathing and trying not to hyperventilate. I started to hyperventilate with both my births. It's painful and I did it naturally, which I just start to inhale with this high-pitched sound like it's closing up, and my husband needs to breathe with me and just like slow things down. And it's just guiding me through the pain because I did both my births naturally. That's no laughing gas, no epidural, no TENS machine, no nothing. With my son, he literally flew out of me in one push. My daughter took 3 pushes to come out. First it was her head. I thought she was done, but she wasn't. It was just her head and it was painful. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's like when you stretch your skin in those opposite directions and it burns, times that by like 1,000. I remember thinking I must be tearing because it just feels so tight, but also like compressed pressure, like an explosion. But to my surprise, there was no bleeding beside the placenta blood, no tearing. I was complimented on the health of her cord, which we donated, along with her placenta. I was actually thanked by the nurse who said she had never seen a delivery quite like mine, one that was so healthy and low risk, and that felt pretty cool. I thought that was really cool that the nurse had thanked me to be a part of it. Hailey and I immediately did skin to skin, and I remember just crying afterward. I did the same with my son, and I hugged my little girl. She's so precious. It's funny because precipitate or rapid births don't run in my family. So when my dad was visiting me in the hospital, he said, "Is this because of all your holistic stuff?" And I just smiled at him and said, "Could be." I'm a nutritionist, so I spent a few years cleansing, balancing, and nutritionally rebuilding my body systems before getting pregnant with Diego. And I've kept up good nutrition with Hailey, but that's not to say my labor was healthier or better than anyone else's. That's just what I did, and this is my experience. Again, not better, not worse than anyone else's. Now, if you are pregnant with your first, trust me, as bad as this sounds, the pain is durable. It's scary, so know what to expect. Looking up symptoms of labor, cramping, bowel pressure, or teeth chattering even. That way you won't panic when you feel these things if you do, because you'll know that that's a symptom and not like you're dying. A natural birth, if you can and the circumstances allow it, is very, very important to pass down your microflora bacteria to your little one, which is sort of like passing down a blueprint to your gut health. If you need to have a C-section, then get informed with videos like these and read about vaginal swabs, because studies compared vaginal swabbing to vaginal births, and they are starkly similar in terms of bacteria, whereas C-sections without vaginal swabs show infants who lack many strains of healthy immune boosting bacterias. I hope you enjoyed this story about Hailey's birth with me. Please subscribe if you're new. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, you know it, live it well because you only live once. Bye.